Hey, hello, and welcome to the Speakeasy. I'm your barkeeper, Jeff Belanger. It's Friday night. You made it. You made it through another week, and I think that's worth celebrating. I do indeed. And I'm glad you're here. I hope you brought your friends. Speaking of friends, please share this right now so your friends can watch and participate as well. And like the page because, I'm working hard for you. So tonight we're going to have some drinks, have some laughs, and considering tonight's topic and venue, we're going to be talking about murder most foul, double murder, which is really cool. So I live in Massachusetts, and I know it's not just Massachusetts, but us parents in Massachusetts love to teach our kids the nursery rhyme. Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. And when she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41, which is awesome and sick and twisted. So tonight's all about the Lizzie Borden house, the people who know the house the best, people like the house historian and tour guide, Danielle Cabral. Danielle. Yay!
Hi!
Welcome aboard. You are not in the Lizzie house. You're safe in your own home, right?
I am.
But you are drinking something?
I am actually drinking a Woodford Reserve Manhattan. Getting really fancy for this podcast. Pinkies out.
Fancy. This is like the fanciest thing ever. All right, very good. Well, welcome. We have to bring in another guest. I want to welcome everybody, please. This is the co-owner of the Lizzie Borden house, the haunted bed and breakfast, where they treat you like family. Please welcome Lee-Ann Wilber. Yay! Lee-Ann, you are in the Lizzie Borden house. I can tell. What are you drinking?
Tonight I am drinking. Where's it going?
There it is.
Liquid Death spring water.
Liquid Death spring water. That sounds.
Yes.
Did you have to sign a waiver?
It is refreshing.
All right. Lee-Ann is a little soft on the microphone. There's not much we can do about it. You might want to boost your volume. And Danielle and I will try not to scream, so it'll all equal out. Where are you guys from? Check in. Go ahead and type in the comments section. Where are you from? What you drinking? I'm drinking Corona because I don't fear the Reaper. Like, look at me, right? Like, bring it. And I went to Wuhan, China to get it.
Killer.
Cheers. Mazel tov. So, Lee-Ann, bed and breakfast, Lizzie Borden. This has got to be a great time to be in the bed and breakfast business. This has got to just be like primo, right?
Absolutely glorious time. Yes.
Yeah. So, when did you have to stop allowing people in?
The end of March.
End of March. And how's it been? And so I know, having been there many, many times myself, you regularly feed the house humans.
I was getting a little hungry.
That's what, and you're in there right now. Which room are you in?
Right now I'm in the kitchen, which would be appropriate.
You're in the kitchen. Okay. Now, Danielle, you've been a tour guide there for 9 years, right?
Yeah, just about.
9. So the two of you have spent arguably as much time in there. Well, Lee-Ann's probably spent more time in there than the Bordens, right? At this point, getting close. and you've and Danielle, if you stay alive, you'll catch up as well.
Yeah.
Lee-Ann, I know you've answered this a million times. I'm so sorry to ask it again. What made you want this property? What made you want to move in and say, yes, people are going to want to stay here?
Well, I know I've told you this story before.
You have, but not my friends in the speakeasy.
This is true. In June, it'll be 16 years that we've been here. Wow. So it was 17 years ago that I brought my then boyfriend here to stay for Valentine's Day. And we had a lovely evening. Next day, we went on our way. A few months later, he called me at work and he said, guess what's for sale? He said, let's buy it. I'm like, okay.
This is the most romantic story I've ever heard in my life.
Right?
Oh my God.
16 years later, here we are.
Here we are. And here we are, unable to bring people in to feed the house because of a pandemic, which nobody saw coming.
Yeah.
So, but you're you're there, you're taking care of it. Are you freaked out at all? I mean, being in there alone?
No more than usual. had an experience in quite a while until 2 weeks ago when
2 weeks ago is quite a while.
I leave the kitchen window over the sink open for Max.
Yep.
And
Max the cat.
Went to let him out, and the window was closed. So I was walking around the house, seeing if I could see lights on in the house or flashlight light. And I called a friend of mine, and he said, call the police, have them check it out just in case. All right. They didn't find anything. Open the window back up, set the alarm, go about my way.
And your cat is 20 years old, right?
Yes, Max is 20.
Even in Max's prime, couldn't close a window, but a 20-year-old cat is, borrowed time. I don't know. I don't want to be too blunt here, but like he's past expiration.
He's got skills.
Yeah. Well, okay, fair enough. Lee-Ann, one of the first stories you ever told me many years ago when we first met was about the earliest days you were in the house and you were sleeping, I believe, on the 3rd floor, if I remember correctly, and there was a rocking chair.
Yeah.
Would you tell us that for my friends here in the speakeasy?
I was alone in the house, and I used to sleep in Bridget's room a lot before the gift shop was built.
Right.
Went to bed, had my tea, had my water, had my book. I forgot the phone. So I come back down to the kitchen, get the phone, start heading back upstairs. And when I hit the second landing, I felt somebody, like they had their hand out in front of me to stop me. It wasn't rough. It was just a slight pressure on my chest. And I said, what? I'm going to bed anyway. Get into bed, eventually fall asleep. And now in Bridget's room, to the left of her bed, is a small child's rocking chair. And when I woke up in the morning, the rocking chair had shifted to around the other side of the bed, like it was watching me sleep all night.
Oh.
That bothered me a little bit.
Why?
Your face.
So Danielle, you're like, I need a job 9 years ago. You're like, Lizzie Borden. Okay, whatever. And you knew the stories. You can't be from where you're from and not know the stories. So like, what drew you to the Lizzie Borden house?
It's actually kind of a weird story. When I was growing up, my 16th birthday, my mom and my aunt brought me there to spend the night, and Lee-Ann had just bought the place.
Mm-hmm.
No one showed up except for us. So we got to upgrade to the Lizzie suite, which is cool. I didn't sleep at all, half for fear, half for excitement.
Right.
And then I started bringing my friends back there for tours. And 9 years ago, I spent the night there, and I started talking to Lee-Ann, and I thought she was just a tour guide. And so we just started, talking to each other about what we did. And she's like, well, what do you do for a living? I said, well, I've cooked professionally for years. And she said, well, we're looking for a cook. I was like, are you the owner? And she's like, yeah. 2 weeks later, I started working there. And then 2 months later, her and Robin pushed me into doing tours. And it's been literal history ever since.
And so I know you've really absorbed it. And you're going to get your master's degree, right? In history? Is that the plan?
Mm-hmm.
History?
That's the plan.
So, you can't really get a job with that, right? I'm sorry.
No, eventually I want to go on for my PhD, but I want to teach eventually. But at least with a master's, I can publish and, teach at a community college, which is the short-term goal of the long-term.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And you can't help but be in a place like that. Folks, I'm going to show you a couple pictures from the great Frank Grace. We love him dearly. You've never been, so that's the exterior. And you walk inside, and when you go into the Lizzie Borden house, like you're walking back into the 1890s, right? That's what it looked like back then, give or take, the electric lights and stuff. But you're really stepping back in time. And Lee-Ann, you've just done a meticulous job making this look and feel like that, which I personally believe is part of the paranormal there. Number one, when you're in the room and you're looking at the couch, and that is not the actual couch, but it looks just like the damn thing, where Mr. Borden lost his life. And you're staring at that, and the crime scene photo is in the same room, and you feel something. You feel this like weird connection, like, oh my God. A guy was murdered here, and no one was ever punished for that. And that's a powerful kind of experience. And no wonder it's haunted. And then, you make it look like that, and all the people going in, It's amazing. It really is. And it's incredible to have seen it grown. The tours, the t-shirts, all that stuff. And I know that the tours are obviously on hold for the moment, but the gift shop's open online. There it is. Lizzie-Borden.com. Still selling the t-shirts are awesome. I know I've been in the gift shop a couple of times and the phone rang and you let me get it. And I love saying the line. I'm just like, Lizzie Borden house where we treat you like family. It never gets old to me. Who came up with that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where that catchphrase came from. It's been around so long.
And you keep an axe nearby in the kitchen, right? Is it still there?
No, that one is not here anymore. Not, the welcome hatchet is gone.
Oh.
We do have a fake hatchet that sits on Mr. Borden's sofa.
I feel like there's a story there.
Hmm?
The hatchet being gone, I feel like there might be a story there.
No, nothing mysterious about it. The person who made it took it back, that's all.
All right, fine, fair enough.
I wish
Tons
I
of
could
celebrities
make it
come
creepier,
and
but
go.
it's not there.
What's that?
I said I wish I could make that story a lot creepier, but it's not.
That's okay. I totally forgive you. So I know tons of celebrities have come and gone through there. Bridget Marcourt, who was on the Speakeasy a couple of weeks ago, she sent me a picture. She's like, "Look, I'm in front of the Lizzie Borden house," and I'm like, "Oh my God, I've been there." And but I mean, I know from being in your gift shop, they've all been there. What is it about that story and that place that just draws people in? I'll ask you first, Lee-Ann.
I think just because it's an unsolved case. The mystery's never been solved, and it just draws people to the house to see if they can figure it out.
And Danielle, I want to ask you, where were you August 4th, 1892?
I was probably vampire hunting.
That's a likely story. That's your alibi.
That's it. I'm sticking to it.
All right. Who do you think did it? Let's just get it out of the way. Lizzie. Danielle?
I think that Lizzie killed her stepmother and the uncle killed the father.
Ooh.
I
Lee-Ann,
don't
where
think
were
Mr.
you?
Borden was ever supposed to die.
August 4th, 1892. Where were you, Lee-Ann?
It was a good year. I don't remember. I have to check my travel
Yeah,
journal.
no alibi for you either. That's great. I was bowling, and my whole team can attest to that. So that's fair. This is a good question. Melissa wants to know how much of the furniture is original to the home. Is there any? You have a couple of pieces, right? A couple of things in the house that are original to the Bordens?
I have some of Lizzie's books that did belong to her at Maplecroft, but the
Yep.
furniture itself is not original to the house.
Right. Yeah, got it. So, but my God, it's incredible. Like when you see the photos and stuff inside the house and you look at the crime scene photos and like how you got those pieces. How long did it take to acquire all that?
I'm still acquiring.
Yeah, right.
Never ends, but it took me probably about 5 years to get everything that's in place now.
So talk to me about one of the most popular, that's not it, the most popular rooms in the house. This is the guest room, right? This was the Borden's guest room?
Yes.
And it was right there between the between the bed and the, what is that, an armoire, or what do you call it, the dressing table? Right there that Mrs. Borden lost her life. And this is one of the most popular rooms, right?
It is the popular room.
Why does everyone want to sleep there?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them.
Danielle, have you slept in that room?
Yeah, I've slept in every room in the house.
You've slept in all of them?
Yeah.
Have you had any, tell us about like one of your weird experiences that since you've been there.
God. Well, one of my very first experiences that I had when I was training to be a night tour guide, I was spending the night there with Robin.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going to walk outside and she was in the kitchen. So I walked around where the sitting room sofa is. And I felt like there was a hand on the back of my neck trying to get my attention. And I was not expecting that at all. So my knees hit my chin and I kind of ran out of the house like this.
And you're like, can't wait for work tomorrow.
Like, yeah, I get to come back. It's going to be so much better when the lights are on.
Yeah. Have you ever had like a day where you're like, I don't think I can do this? Have you had a day where it was more than you could take?
Yeah. I mean, I've had a couple of times where I was there doing a night tour and all the guests had left and I got so creeped out. I heard voices upstairs and something fall, and I was there alone. And I just kind of looked around. I'm like, I don't want to go anywhere unless people are here with me. So I didn't leave the first floor until people came in. But for a while, it almost felt like someone was watching me throughout the house. And I'd like to think it was just Mr. Borden getting used to me, but I don't know. I haven't felt uneasy since. So I think it was just like my initiation, I guess.
So I'm one of my first, I know it was my very first time in the house. I don't even remember the year, but I'm going to guess like 2008, maybe 2007, even six. God, how is that crazy? It's been like 14 years or so. But you were closed for renovations, just some minor stuff, some painting and things, and you allowed us to go in and record, actually do a live broadcast of Spooky South Coast. So I was with Tim Weisberg and Matt Moniz, and I think Chris Balzano was with us that night. So it was four of us, just four. And we went down, it was like 11:30 at night. There's nobody else in the house at all. And we went down to the basement. So there's the stairs down. The stairs to the basement. This is right next to the kitchen, right next to the side entrance. So it's all right there. And we're right down in the basement, right next to the stairway. And suddenly we hear these like scampering footsteps, clearly coming from the side door right into the kitchen area. And all of us were like, uh-oh. I mean, you trusted us with the house for the night. We're like, some kids from Fall River just broke in. We're sure of it. So from the bottom of the stairs to the kitchen, 3 seconds, right? 4 seconds just to run up those stairs, and you're right there in the kitchen. And we look around, there's no one there, and you go and you check the door and it's locked just like we left it, and then we all look at each other and go, we all heard the same thing. We all reacted the same exact way. We were raced up here thinking, we got to call the cops or whatever. And there's nothing there. And it was just, I know that doesn't make a Hollywood movie, but it was weird, right? You're like, clearly 2 sets of footsteps. And I know for you, this is sort of like old hat. I'm curious too, like what do some of the guests say in the middle of the night? Like what's some of your best guest stories where they're like, I'm out, I don't need a refund.
You first, Danielle.
Go ahead, Danielle. What do you got?
I've had, I think, 10 people now leave on me in the middle of the night. Some people have wrote reviews the next morning and said that we tried to stay up. We made it until 2:00. We just couldn't sleep. We got too creeped out and we left. It was a great experience, but we couldn't stay. See ya. It's like, okay, but what happened?
They wouldn't tell
People
you?
just want to, no, they just got the hell out of Dodge.
So I get it, right? I totally get this because people want to have a ghost experience. I understand that. I mean, when you have that experience, it's huge. It's like life-changing. But damn it, they don't want to have it where they live. They want to have it there. And if I have to leave in the middle of the night, that's cool. I'll sleep in the car. Totally, I don't need a refund. I get it, right? You're just like, great, I'll have it there, and then I'll go home to my nice, safe house that's not haunted. So no, I totally get it.
We had guests leave to go to other hotels, but come back for breakfast.
Yeah, I had one guy sleep in his car because he started doing voice recording sessions up on the 3rd floor in the Knowlton room, or what we call the kids room.
Yeah.
And he started listening back through the voice recorder and he caught something that disturbed him. So he went out and slept in his car and left his recorder running in his room.
That is epic. I love that. So that's this room, right? The upstairs?
No, that's Britta Sullivan's room. That's the main room.
Oh, sorry. I don't have them all. Thank you, Frank, for sending me so much. And of course, too, when you're walking around the house, you've got reminders everywhere, right? This is Frank did a little photo treatment to this one, but you've got the bashed in skulls, which are just beautiful.
Right. Every dining room should have them.
Every dining room should have them. Obviously, not the originals. Just these are plaster, right? Plaster casts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it with. I'm curious what percentage of people that go to the house are like true crime, I want to solve it fans, and how many are like paranormal fans? If you had to guess.
It's changed a lot since I first started working there. 9 years ago, it was mostly 30% that were into the ghosts. And now I would say it's probably like 60-40 and 60 being into the paranormal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you've been on all the shows. Like
just a couple.
You're wicked famous, right?
Wicked, dude.
Wicked famous. And Lee-Ann loves doing TV. Like she loves it.
It's her favorite thing ever.
I was like, come on, Lee-Ann, it's just a speakeasy. We'll have some drinks and stuff. She's like, you got to get Danielle too. I'm like, okay. So yeah,
Thank
someone
you,
had
boss
been,
lady.
yeah, she's the best. Yes. Oh, so yeah, Josh remembers the ghost. Oh, I have a Ghost Adventure story. Lee-Ann, so Ghost Adventures filmed there way back when, right?
Oh, the flies.
The flies. So I worked on that episode. I've worked on all of them since 2008. Filmed there, and everything, you know, if you saw the Ghost Adventures episode, then it is what it is. But what you didn't see is the day they left, Lee-Ann calls me and she goes, "What the hell did your guys do in here last night?" And I went, "What do you mean?" And she goes, the basement is just, the basement door is full of flies. And so I went there, and so in the back parking lot, there's a little door that goes down like 3 steps into the basement, and there's another door there. So there's a little pocket, 3 feet, 4 feet, right? Maybe. And I go to the back door, and inside it's just like tons of these black flies. And I filmed it. I filmed it with my phone, and I'm like, okay, this is creepy. And we're thinking like Amityville flashbacks and all this other stuff. That was really weird. And then we opened the door, and I'm like, there's got to be a dead mouse in there or something. But there was nothing. We opened the door, the flies flew away, and I looked at Lee-Ann, and I just kind of shrugged, and I was like, still friends, right? There's Max, the 20-year-old cat. That's paranormal right there. You got a black cat that's like 20 years old.
Hi, Max.
Look at this. So I can tell you, Marvin is not from New England. Where do you park your car when you go there? Well done.
And Harvard Yard.
In Harvard Yard. We've heard it. We've heard it. So yeah. Oh, look.
I gotta tell you.
Go. Yeah.
Oh, I was doing a tour a couple of years ago, and there was only 4 people on the tour. So we start in the front parlor. If you guys ever come for a tour, which you should when we open, which is hopefully soon, you'll come in the front door, enter the front parlor, and you sit down. I started the whole beginning of the tour, and from upstairs on the 2nd floor, a door slammed shut hard. Now, I was the only tour guide on that day, so I know that I leave no doors closed on the 2nd floor. So I had walked back upstairs and excused myself to go check to make sure that no one broke in, which wasn't possible, and there was no door closed. And I love telling the story because what's odd for me about it is the sound of the door slamming was not in this dimension. And that sounds kind of strange when you say it out loud, but we heard a slamming door. It just wasn't in the Lizzie Borden house. Or at least not in 2015 when it happened.
Really weird. And one of the things when I mean, we're all infatuated with this story, of course. So when the murders happened, Lizzie claimed she was in the backyard, right? Or
when her father was killed, yeah.
When her father was killed. And wasn't the maid on the 3rd floor?
Yes.
Okay, this is the crazy thing. If you haven't been to the Lizzie Borden house, you should go, obviously. If you have been, imagine you're on the 3rd floor. This is not the Breaker's mansion, right? You're on the 3rd floor, and someone is getting hacked to death with an axe right below you. You're not going to go check that out? You're not going to be like, excuse me, everything okay? I heard screaming and thumping and all kinds of really loud, unusual noises. Like, you wouldn't at least check?
Couldn't hear it.
Yeah, the house, the sound is weird. Like, there are times where me and Tim, the assistant manager, are doing housekeeping at the same time. And if he's in the John Morse room on the 2nd floor and I yell up the back stairs from the kitchen, he can't hear me. And we're like 2 rooms apart, basically.
Okay, so I have an idea. We have to do an experiment where we hack one of you goes to the 3rd floor. We hack someone to death in the guest room, and you tell me if you hear it.
Well, I actually did this experiment with a couple of people on my night tour. This was years ago. So the woman on my tour, yes, but don't tell anybody.
No,
it's just
I
between
won't.
me, you, and the thousands of people right now.
Snitches get stitches, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a woman, she went upstairs, and she's like, well, I don't believe that an over 200-pound woman hit the floor and no one could hear it. And I said, well, that's interesting because we don't even know if she fell. We assume she did, but she could have been on her knees, on the floor already. We don't know. So the woman went upstairs, and I told her, I was like, all right, so just, stomp on the floor. Don't fall. Just, give a good stomp. So 2 people were standing in the dining room where Lizzie said she was at the time her stepmother was killed. She also said she was in the kitchen or the basement. So I myself went into the kitchen, and 3 other people went down into the basement. Now, when the woman upstairs stomped on the floor, the people in the dining room said it did seem to like almost shake the house. I'm standing a door away. I heard a sound, but it didn't really attract my attention. And in the basement, they had no idea she stomped. So it kind of is plausible, depending on where Lizzie was, that she didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
And the maid was outside, so she wouldn't have heard anything at all.
I still think we need to be thorough here. We got to find someone we don't like, and we got to murder them in the guest room. Well,
any takers in the comments?
Lee-Ann, that's cool, right? I mean, in the interest of science and all.
Bring plenty of plastic.
Well, yeah, of course. We're not going to make a mess. You have a nice place there. I mean, come on. When have I ever performed some weird occult ritual in your house without like cleaning up after? Not once, right? That's why you invite me back. Sorry about the flies. The flies was different. That was an oopsie, you know.
That was weird.
Have you seen him ever? Have you ever seen that since?
Oh.
Just that one night.
After they ran out of the house like 2:30. Didn't even tell me they were leaving. Left me with the security guard in the parking lot to look around, made sure the house was locked down. I think they left Billy behind to pick up some things.
Yeah.
Locked down the house. Everything was good.
Yeah.
Next day, my bulkhead's full of death flies.
Yes. Sorry about that.
Death flies.
They were huge.
So I love the nicknames. Look at this comment. This is great. Deborah said, my visit there was great. We did a board session. You had a pretty historic Ouija board in the room last time I was there with the Death Couch. That's a great name. That's the name of my band, by the way. Death Couch. We're pretty good. We're pretty awesome. Do you still have the Ouija board?
Of course.
Yeah. That's... Does it freak people out? What freaks people out more? The Death Couch or the Ouija board?
I think the couch until they noticed the Ouija board.
Facts. For sure.
I love that. I totally love that. So have you ever had a person try to work there that like creeped you out because you realized like they wanted to work there a little too much? You got it. Come on. I know that's happened. Come on. I'll work here for free. Like something, right? Something weird where you're like, wait a minute.
Let's just say they were not hired.
Oh, you sniffed it out before? Yeah. And you probably got a pretty good nose for that at this point, right?
No.
No. Danielle got through. She's still in there.
I tap on the employee's shoulders going, what do you think of them?
And a lot of times we're like,
no, not this one. I have a restraining order on that one. How many movies? That's a good question. Michelle wants to know. Do you know how many movies have been made about Lizzie at this point? How about since you've taken over? How many movies?
Since we've taken over, well, Chloe's and Christina Ricci's. So 2 movies, the miniseries.
Right.
And including the Elizabeth Montgomery movie 3.
What is it about Lizzie that we don't let her go after all these years?
I don't know what to tell you, Jeff.
Honestly, I think you're
research on that.
No, but I think you're playing a role in it, right? You keep her legacy alive. The house. I mean, so many people come through there. They get inspired, whether it's from a paranormal show or a tour or staying there or hearing about it. I mean, I think if that house was torn down, don't you think it would drift away a little bit?
Oh yeah, the house couldn't be replaced.
Yeah, I mean, you're supercharging this old, unsolved crime.
But different things bring different people to the house. We have not only paranormal investigators or interested in the paranormal. We have law students studying the case. We have law enforcement.
Okay.
Those tours are a lot of fun to give too, because they've done so much of their research, especially the people in high school or the freshmen in college. They've done so much. Yeah, that's so cool, because then you actually get to talk about something more on the tour, like in depth. So it always brings something different.
So like law enforcement people be like, let's go through a crime scene. And
exactly.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
And the students want to know, like, okay, well, where exactly were the bodies found and what was the report and who said what? So you, after being there for so long and researching it, like Lee-Ann's a plethora of information, and I've gleaned a lot of that from her and other tour guides and stuff and doing my own research. But when people get to ask you those questions that you're interested in, it's really cool, because the tour is an hour long, which seems long, but I mean, it's thousands of hours worth of information we have in our heads that we try to give to you in an hour.
Yeah. No, and I get it too. Like, so the true crime people, I mean, nothing stolen during the crime, right? No sign of forced entry, no sign of a struggle. Like anyone with like day one students would tell you, like the killers, I mean, the victims knew their killer, right? I mean, that's what all the evidence points to. And someone got away with it.
What is it, like a 128-year-old cold case now?
Yeah, it's getting there. Oh, look at Michelle says, keep Danielle. I didn't know what to expect. So I was really scared. Listen, was like, what? So anyway, you got fans, Danielle. You got fans.
Thank you, guys. I got my hatchet too.
That's
hatchet tattoo.
I don't have one of those. That's awesome.
I carry it with me everywhere.
Yeah, you do. Okay, ladies, can we take a quick break because we're going to give something away, if that's okay. So we've had an anonymous donor give us a bunch of these $25 Amazon gift cards. And to win, sorry, Danielle and Lee-Ann, you're not eligible. We're going to have a trivia question from the great Greg Lawson. And if you're the first one to comment with the right answer, then you will win. And after the show, I'll send you a message. Is everybody ready? We're ready to do this? All right, so let's get to it. It's trivia time from the Paranormal Detective. All right, take it away, Greg. Get ready to comment, everybody.
Thanks, Jeff. Hey, everybody. This week's trivia question from the Paranormal Detective Trivia Game. We're going to go with a historical card. In 1927, this famous dead magician's wife began a tradition of holding a seance every year at the Detroit Masonic Temple to contact his spirit. She claimed her husband had told her that when he died, he could prove once and for all whether the spirit world existed. Who was this magician?
There it is. All right. Comment away. The very first person to comment. Like before, I will give it a second because they'll come in and everybody's saying stuff very quickly. My God, there's like
that happened fast.
That went fast. Yeah. All right. We'll just give it one more second because I think we have a winner here. And the first one I see is Chris Jerome. Houdini.
Oh, hi, Uncle Chris.
Wait a minute. Uncle Chris?
That's my Uncle Chris.
All right. That's the first one we see here. So well done, Chris. After the show, I will message you and get your mailing address. So well done. Thank you.
That's so weird.
Is it?
It is. I haven't seen him in years.
All right. So I got to make a note. All right. Well done. I will mail you a $25 gift card. And how cool is that? Thank you, anonymous donor. Buy something you need or just something you want. And that's really cool. Lee-Ann, you've moved. Where did we go now? Where are you in the house?
I am around here.
Oh, there it is. Are you on the couch?
I am on the sofa.
Do you ever nap there? Do you ever like lay down and take a nap? Oh, and there she is. Okay. Still there.
Hold on. Not the most comfortable in the world to sleep on.
Ooh.
But it's so pretty.
It is pretty. We all have the picture on the couch, right? We've all done that. I've done that. I have the picture, right? I try. Oh, Lee-Ann, can you take us up to the crime scene photo since you're there?
All right, hold on.
Yeah, this is fun. There's fans of the sofa. Danielle, you got to get the sofa on your other hand. That would be epic.
I'm going to save that for my Polaroids.
We're going up the stairs. Look it. We're going upstairs. This is live. This is real on the phone. There it is. There's the guest room.
Spooky.
That is so cool. Wow. All right. And this is where Mrs. Borden, right on the other side of that bed.
Looks like the cat's been here.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Oh.
This is awesome. Like, how real is this, right? There it is.
That's the spot.
And can you show us the photo right above the wall there? Can you just kind of look at here? So the photo, the crime scene photo, there it is. Oh my God. That's what happened to Mrs. Borden. That's the real photo. You're welcome. Aren't you glad you watched tonight? Oh, yeah. Nice. Hope you guys already ate your dinner.
All right. Now the bed has no cat prints on it.
I won't tell. So look at, you've got, Ryder here. The comments are coming so fast. One of the best ghost experiences I had was in that guest room. What happened, Ryder? Ann, tell us. We want to know.
That's cool.
And Sean just says, hi, Danielle Cabral. So,
Hey, Sean. Hi, Sarah.
do you know who that
Hi,
is?
Kobe. I do.
All right. Well, that's no fun.
They're regulars at the Lizzie Borden house.
That's
They're
cool.
part of the family now.
Yeah, that's cool.
Now we're in Lizzie's room.
There's Lizzie's room. Okay. I love it. And then the room next to it to the left is what?
This was Emma's bedroom.
Right.
But
Okay.
only for the last couple of years that they were here. This was Lizzie's room first.
Okay. Are you a little freaked out, like in the house alone?
No.
That's why you own it, and not me.
You get used to it.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait. Pan back to the right, Lee-Ann. Look, I don't want to freak you out. Nope, the other right. The other right. Straight ahead. Up, left. Straight ahead. Dude, there's someone right in front of you. Oh, that's a mirror. That's a mirror. Okay. All right. And this was Mr. Borden's room, right?
This is the master bedroom.
Oh, you know what? A good story Lee-Ann should tell is the story about the change.
Yes. People leave coins on the thing next to Mr. Borden's bed, right?
The Alaskan couple.
What happened? Tell us.
The one about the Alaskan couple?
Yeah.
Oh, this is going back a few years ago. I had two couples in the house that night. I had a couple from Alaska and I had a couple from Australia. And the couple from Alaska was in this room and the other couple was in Lizzie's room.
Right.
So I said goodnight to them, shut down the house a little bit, go up to my office. It's, I think, about 1 a.m. And the house phone rings. Hey, Max.
Meow.
The house phone rings. I pick it up, and it says that Lizzie Borden is calling me. Now I figured, all right, we had 3 phones around at the time,
Right.
and I figured, well, maybe one of the guests is calling me from inside the house.
Right.
Get back around here. So I answered the phone and I said, how's everything going? Can I help you? And all I hear is, and phone turns off.
Right.
All right. Look at
That was it.
time. Look at the time and think maybe it's a good time to go in and check on the guests.
Right.
So I'm on the first floor. Everything's off. I look up the stairs. Lizzie's door's closed. The Morse door closed. I go up the back stairs to the 3rd floor. I find the couple from Alaska on the 3rd floor. So I start chatting with them. And about 15 minutes later, the phone rings again. This time it's a customer asking about reservation dates. So I excuse myself, go back out into the office. About another half hour later, the couple from Alaska calls me, says, can you please come back into the house? He was getting strange phone calls on his cell phone, and I screenshotted them all.
Right.
And then I took audio.
Didn't you send me these? You sent me these, right?
I did.
I remember those.
While I was standing on the back stairs with him chatting, his cell phone was in the John Morse room, and Lizzie's house called his cell phone. And then a couple of random numbers that just didn't make any sense.
Right.
And one, 666, 6666.
That's right. I remember. Yeah, you sent me these. Oh my God. It was crazy.
And one of the audios just sounded like a really angry man. I found out later that they had messed with the change on his bureau, and they had also messed with the Elizabeth Montgomery dress.
2 no-nos.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now,
Yeah, I did send them to you.
yeah, I remember that. So, Mr. Borden was not a fan of alcohol, correct? You said he was a teetotaler. Am I remembering it correctly?
Hence my liquid death.
Cheers to Mr. Borden.
Yeah.
I got the good stuff outside.
We'll drink your health, but it's too late. Sorry, Mr. Borden. What is liquid death? What the hell is in that?
It's spring water.
Like called liquid death?
Yeah, it's actually pretty good.
I believe you. I just figured with a name like liquid death, it's probably like lighter fluid.
Spring water.
All right, I believe you. All good, all good. No, it's such an amazing place and such a piece of history. I'm glad it's there. I'm glad you're preserving it, and I love your attitude, Lee-Ann, about like, hey, come here for whatever reason draws you in, whether it's the history or the true crime or the paranormal or whatever. You're very generous with the house, and I know I've appreciated it for a bunch of years now. Just letting it be what it is, as opposed to like overly trying to define it, which I've seen other people do with historic buildings, right? They're like, no, it's this and this only, and don't you dare want it for anything else, right? And that's it's not yours to say. I mean, you own it, but it's not yours to define the story, right?
No.
That's a cool thing. Also, of course, the Bordens are buried just up the street, not too far away, and okay, so if you go to I'm sorry, the name escaping. What's the name of the cemetery? Just 2 miles up?
Oak Grove.
Oak Grove. As soon as you drive into Oak Grove, if you're like, it's massive, it's huge. How in the world am I going to find the Borden graves? All you got to do is like look down at the ground, because there's these white arrows that will guide you right to it. So obviously it's the most popular grave there, and people want to see it. Many Bordens buried in that cemetery, including relatives. But if you can't miss it, because you just follow the white arrows, and that's worth seeing too. I mean, if you're going to go there for Lizzie, you should go pay your respects. But what blows my mind is Lizzie is buried right in the same family plot as her dad and stepmother. Like, what's up with that? I guess did someone not believe they did it, or that was just the family plot?
It's the family plot.
By request.
She wanted to be there.
Yeah.
I want to be buried next to her father.
Now, I don't mean to brag. I'm name dropping left and right, whatever. I've been to Lizzie's dog's grave. Over
Nice.
The what's the name of that pet cemetery? Which is not nearby. It's somewhere.
It's in Dedham.
Dedham, right? Yeah. So I went and I found Lizzie's dog's grave in this big pet cemetery, and
Isn't it adorable though? It says sleeping a while on the bottom.
Yeah, all the graves are. But I couldn't help. I was in there, and Herman Munster's voice was in my head, where he's just like, sometimes death is better, right? I was like, oh, like Gage is going to come out of the ground, and these pets are going to come back. But it doesn't look like that. It actually looks like a very pleasant cemetery. It's just all pets. Good place. So, oh yeah, look, Christina, she's been there for Legend Trips events and Spooky South Coast events.
Hey.
It's amazing how many people we've taken through there over the years, different countries or whatever. I don't know. Give me Lee-Ann, have you had a celebrity come in there that you actually like, you freaked out? You're like, oh my God, I can't believe you're here at my house.
A couple.
Come on, name drop. Give us one.
Well, the first one for me was Chloe Sevigny.
Who?
Or I never pronounce her name right. Chloe Sevigny.
I don't know who that is.
The last Lizzie was in the last Lizzie movie.
Okay.
American Horror Story.
Oh, okay, cool. And that was a moment you fangirled?
Not Not too much. I mean, she was here with her boyfriend at the time. They were very nice.
Yep.
And I gave them the tour that night. They were the only ones in the house. And when we got to the Morse room, I was telling her about the Elizabeth Montgomery movie, and at the time saying, I hope we can get another movie made sometime. And she said, I would love to play Lizzie. I said, well, you work on that.
Yeah, right.
And then she came back again. And the third time she came back was just before they were going to start filming the movie in Georgia.
Wow. That's cool.
We've had Elvira's been here.
Oh, awesome.
Peterson.
Yeah.
Cynthia Nixon stopped by one time.
Penny Dreadful.
Penny Dreadful. Bridget Marquardt, who we mentioned earlier, of course.
Local.
All good times. So Michelle wants to know, do one of you stay in the house? No, Michelle, they do not. The house is yours. You would be in there. Of course, Lee-Ann's close by, but the house is yours. Well, the room is yours, depending on how many other people rent a room that night. And if a good time to visit, is there like well, obviously the August 4th is like sold out a year in advance, right? When the anniversary.
Yes.
That's a tough date to get.
Except for the John Morse room. Several years ago, we started putting that up on eBay as an auction and donating it to different charities.
Okay. So if you want to stay there on the anniversary of the murders, you got to plan way in advance. But what's a good time of year to stay at the house, especially for our friend in the South here, Michelle, who doesn't like the cold?
Just during the summertime. Right now, I don't know when we're going to be opening up again, unfortunately, but we'll be posting it on our Facebook and our webpage as soon as we know.
Yeah, I know.
And
Gosh.
we will be taking some extreme social distancing into consideration during our day tours. And
That's the
end of tour guides.
Right. So Monday in Massachusetts, which is, of course, Lizzie Borden House is in Fall River, Massachusetts. I guess the governor's going to announce phase 1, whatever that looks like. And I don't imagine tours and stuff is going to be part of that. But, I guess we'll know more on Monday. How are you getting by? Like, Lee-Ann, how are you doing? Like the last couple months? I mean, the house aside, like, how are you personally doing?
Selling bodily organs off one at a time as needed.
Makes sense. But are you okay? Like, have you been having some tough times here, or are you like, what are you doing with this time?
Definitely have had some tough times. I know people around here and everywhere have had worse times than us.
Yeah.
So, I just have to be thankful for what I have right now, and if I can keep this place going for as long as I can.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Danielle, what about you? How have you been, like, with all this? What are you doing to pass the time? Are you still in school?
I graduated last May. I took a year off before grad school, figuring I'd just, work a whole bunch. So since I've been out since March, I've been doing, research on my own and building up my own library here at the house. But I mean, I think it's the same as everyone else. I've been doing a lot of drinking. I've been doing a lot of Netflix and chill by myself.
Yeah. So, okay, listen, I got to ask both of you a question just because you brought it up, Danielle. We'll come back to that in a second. This is important because you guys know about murder. You know about unsolved murders. Did Carol Baskin do it? Like, where do you stand on that? Yeah, she did it, right? Yeah. Lizzie did it. Carol Baskin did it. Is that what we can all agree on?
Common ground, yeah.
Oh my God. That show, I couldn't stop watching it.
It's funny. I have never seen an episode, but I watch and listen to so many different podcasts that I have the full synopsis of the entire story.
Dude,
I've been watching the show.
Run, don't walk. Like, you owe it to yourself. That's like 7 hours of prime time heaven. It's like, my life sucks. Well, it ain't that bad.
Right.
So you took a year off. You're studying. You're doing your own stuff. Give us a little tour. I know you had some Lizzie stuff right next to you, right?
Oh, yeah. So I just got this. I was super pumped about it. I know that all the Lizzie files out there will be super excited too. This is so hard to find, especially in box and unopened.
Ooh, turn it a little. This bright light. Okay. Living. Oh, that's so cute. Unopened.
Unopened.
I struggle with that. like did you see Toy Story?
Yeah, so I'm the same way, but she's so hard to find I can't open her. However,
Right.
we used to have bobbleheads at the Lizzie house that we no longer make. I bought one when I first went there, and then before we sold out, I bought another one that's in box and unopened. So I have an open one and an unopened one.
All right.
But this, I want to show you this
Okay.
because this is one of the first gifts I ever got from my grandmother about Lizzie when I was 12 years old, and I wanted to crack the case open, and I've been researching it ever since.
Oh, wow. That's one of the original headlines? Is that like the...
This is all newspaper articles from the day of the murders forward.
God. Wow.
It's super cool. It's a good way to start, I think, if you're interested, because you can read what the paper said. And it was funny for me because a couple of years ago, I ended up doing a research paper on the effects the media had on society during the time of the trial. And everything is just eyewitness reporters and stuff. This was one of the most sensationalized cases in American history.
Yeah.
We were actually the second case in history to go worldwide next to Jack the Ripper. Months after the murders happened, newspapers were talking about this in Australia, New Zealand, and Wales. Like, I thought that was epic.
Do you think it's because Lizzie was a woman? Do you think like that had something to do with it?
Oh, for sure. And for the fact that no one actually was arrested for it. They couldn't arrest anyone. So Fall River police were like a mockery. And they were putting comics all over the newspapers in Boston and New York and Connecticut, like saying, let's arrest someone. So when they finally arrested Lizzie, people were flabbergasted. And people were writing into the attorney, the district attorney, saying either two things, which I thought was mind-blowing because it was women writing in. And some of them said that she was a horrible woman. She deserved to be hung twice for killing these two poor old people in cold blood. Or 180 out, and how could he do this? He's such a terrible person. She's innocent. You can't hold her in jail. So it was just more of a he said, she said. No one knows what happened. No one knows who done it. And no one's been convicted up until, now.
Yeah, right. Until tonight. Until right here. So did you feel like the media was sort of like doing he said, she said, chasing popular opinion as opposed to actual news? And that's 1892, right?
Yeah, I mean, it got so bad that the marshal went on record saying that the papers are fault-finding and based on a misconception. So the reporters were putting things in the paper, and the very same night, they were contradicting themselves.
Wow. This feels like right now.
Right?
You're
like they call it fake news now, but back then it was called yellow journalism.
Right, yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing. And you know what? Lizzie sold papers. So you found, hey, I found the gardener that lived next door to the guy that once knew her 10 years ago, right? Like you just whatever. She sold papers, and that's what you did. And and boy, that's crazy. Yeah, not much has changed, has it?
No.
Yikes! I love that. Lee-Ann, someone asked earlier about the two children drowned, not on the actual property, but right next door. Right? This was the other Andrew's uncle, if I remember correctly.
Borden.
Yeah. So Andrew's uncle's wife.
You tell the story, Danielle. I'll show them the house.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So Mr. Borden's uncle Loudwick lived next door, the house that you're going to see in a second, the little yellow house there, with his wife Eliza. And they had 3 small kids. Yep, there's the house. It's just been modernized a little bit since then. But unfortunately, the story is that she had such severe postpartum depression, she tried drowning all of her children in the well. And the 2 youngest ones, unfortunately, didn't survive. But the older daughter, Maria, she climbed out and she did survive, which was great. But to finish the terrible story, after the woman threw her after the lady threw her children in the well, she went and grabbed her husband's straight razor and she slit her own throat.
Right. And
so the names of the children were Eliza and Holder. Or is it Holder or Holden?
Holden, I believe, because I've been to their graves, which are in the same cemetery as Lizzie and her family. They're just sort of down the hill because we actually went there on Ghost Adventures. We found the graves. They're tiny, and in fact, like I don't really want to say where they are because they're probably pretty easily stolen.
Yeah,
which is tough. Lee-Ann, have you had any like creepy people come and like try to steal a piece of the house just to own it, just to like go away with it?
Tell them all the things that have been stolen while I turn my light on.
Go ahead.
we've had people lift stuff in the house before, and somehow, miraculously, we find it a way to get it back sometimes. But what was it? Not the Ouija board. Oh, it was years ago when we were doing the restorations in the house, when we pulled down Larry Press, and we were trying to figure out the color of the house, and paint was peeling off. And somebody took a paint chip from the house, and it was mailed back to us anonymously saying, please put it back on the house. This is where I took it from. I've had nothing but bad luck since bringing it home.
You used to sell in the gift shop. Do you still have them? I think you sold like nails or like something, right? Didn't you sell pieces of the house?
Brick dust.
Brick dust. That's right.
Yeah,
Lizzie Borden brick dust. I've had nothing but good luck since I bought mine home. Yeah, but I paid for it, and so I have nothing but good luck ever since. No one's killed me once.
Every brick dust sold helps for the restorations.
That's cool.
Never ever ending.
Yeah, a house like that is not a business; it's a lifestyle, right? I mean, like that is a project that will never ever end, and it's amazing. It's amazing, and yeah, it's Tammy made the comment that people do that in Gettysburg too. Ever since that Brady Bunch episode, remember when they went to Hawaii? Like we all know, they mail it all back. Did someone steal original doorknobs? Kate wants to know.
Yep. That's why we can't have nice things.
Cannot have nice things and invite in the public. That's so very true.
So
very
Jeff,
crazy.
I got to ask you, what drew you to the Lizzie Borden house?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, when you're into weird stuff and paranormal and you live in Massachusetts, like, that's pretty high on the radar. But the first time I got to go was Tim Weisberg. He's like, hey, let's do a live broadcast I talked to Lee-Ann. Tim knew Lee-Ann before I did. Let's do a live broadcast of Spooky South Coast. I was like, that sounds awesome. And so I got to go there. It's one of those places like you have to go. I have no idea how many times I've been there now, but it's a lot. Like over the years, like it's up there. And so yeah, and it's a place. So I travel all over the world. And when I'm doing talks on ghosts and stuff and people say, where are you from? And I say, Massachusetts, pretty soon they're going to be like, have you been to the Lizzie Borden house? Right. Like it's one of the questions you'll get asked. And I go, of course. And tell us about it. And so it's something that people want to hear. So yeah,
conversation started for sure.
It is like, what happens to you, Danielle, when you tell people I work at go ahead, take a drink first. I'll ask a long question so you can get a good chug in. What did people say when you're like, yeah, I work at the Lizzie Borden house? Are they like,
It's always when I'm having dinner at the bar, because I like to go out by myself, and I can't wait to do that again. But sitting at the bar, having a drink, and someone will see like, oh, you have a Lizzie Borden shirt on. Have you been there? I'm like, yeah, I work there.
Yeah.
And then for the next hour and a half, I am now eating and talking simultaneously because it's a story. And, I don't know if Lee-Ann feels the same, but I know a lot of the other tour guides do. It's a story that you never get tired of telling.
Yeah.
You always are learning more stuff, and people's opinions are ever changing. And I don't know, it's just really cool to talk about something like that people are so interested in.
Yeah, no, and it's it's part of the landscape too, especially Fall River. I mean, there's a highway sign for it, and I don't mean like a billboard. I mean like the thing that says on this exit is the Lizzie Borden house. I mean, that's amazing. Lee-Ann, does that ever end conversations with you? And you're like, I own the Lizzie Borden house. They're like, oh.
The strangest one that happened to me was several years ago. We had just done Ghost Hunters, so it was a little bit after that.
Yep.
And Donald and I went out to Lake Tahoe. And one night I was watching a Discovery Channel, Travel Channel show, and of course on haunted places. And it mentioned Calneva, which is on the other side of the lake.
Yep, I know that one.
So we said, all right, we'll drive over there tomorrow for dinner. So we did, walking around, and the show had said that they did tours. So I walked up to a woman at a blackjack table working there, and I asked, do you still do tours? And she said, no, I'm sorry, that was an old show. We haven't done that in a long time. And then she's staring at me and looking at me. And she said, you own the Lizzie Borden house.
Right.
I'm like, how do you know that? You were on Ghost Hunters. I'm like, yup. And she goes, Jimmy, come on over here. Show them the place. Take them on the tour.
That's
So we
awesome.
took the tour.
So it opens doors for you. As Suzanne says, Lee-Ann is a celebrity wherever we go. It's totally true. Very cool. Ladies, it's been an hour, and
Aw.
I'm almost empty. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm almost done. All right, this is so weird. So are people watching right now seeing what we're seeing, like the mirrored image type of thing?
It's backwards. Yeah.
Can we do like a high five?
Yes, but you got to go the other way that you
Oh,
think.
there we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I can even like.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Right. Isn't this great?
There you
Hey,
go.
I love it. Until we can all get together in person, this is what we got to do to get by, and so that's what we'll do, and that's what we got to do, right? And we got to get by. We got to survive every day. We got to figure it out, and it's tough, right? I mean, a bed and breakfast right now. Like, I mean, I stopped working. All three of us, right? We've got unemployment in common. But we're trying to figure out the next move, right? So you research, you do what you can, you start a speakeasy, you work on little renovations here and there. But we'll come up with something. We will. And the story of Lizzie has survived this long. I know it'll survive longer. And if anything, I think we're whetting the appetites of people, right? People that were planning to go or couldn't go or want to go. It's just, I hope it's sooner than later, because obviously a place like that has bills to pay, right? There's, so here's what you folks can do. Are you still taking reservations for like later, Lee-Ann?
For later, yes.
Okay, so make a reservation or go to the gift shop right on the website. What's that?
Be safe, August on.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like there's stuff in the gift shop, funny t-shirts, awesome t-shirts, and all kinds of different items. But yeah, super cool. And we appreciate it. Thank you both for joining me for drinks tonight. I've missed you in person. I wish like we could, well, maybe someday we can do this from there.
I would love that.
And not like with masks on where we're just like, oh, what's going on? Yeah.
You sound like Bane doing a podcast.
Like, yeah, you'll be in one room and I'll be in another. I'll be like, Lee-Ann, I have a question from the chat room, right? And we'll just figure it all out. But good stuff. So thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for doing this. This is really cool. Like you've been a huge supporter of us for years, and you bring a lot of people, and so it's awesome and very much appreciated.
Well, thanks. And I love it. It's a place I believe in. So it's easy for me. And hey, folks, if you want to follow me on Facebook or Instagram, there it is at Exploring Legends. You can go check me out any old time, and appreciate you guys. So go ahead and like the page. We're doing the speakeasies like Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7:00. Different guests, different topics all the time. Always interesting, always fun, kind of social. And so thank you guys for being here tonight. And of course, if you want to tip your bartender, you can, because there it is on Venmo. And, it pays for beer and pays for internet connections so we can keep this thing going. Am I right? I'm right. Anyway.
For Venmo, too, if you want to give me some whiskey.
Yeah. So Danielle needs more whiskey and Lee-Ann needs more like liquid death spring water, which is a weird name for spring water, but not judging here, judging a little. All right. So folks, thank you very much. Thank you, Lee-Ann. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you everybody for watching. And until next time, please take it easy.